after getting absolutely blown out in game 3 by 42 points, and really as a whole just looking like not even a playoff team in that game, OKC has more than bounced back, and they are up 3-1 in this series, and they are one game away from the NBA Finals, which they haven't made since 2012. I will say in 2016 they did have a chance up 3-1, but the Warriors ended up coming back. But this Wolves team is not the 2016 Warriors. So Minnesota is in a bad spot right now. But let's talk about how the game went from start to finish. To start this game off, Jaden McDaniels was phenomenal. He had 10 points in that first quarter alone, if I'm not mistaken, and his aggressiveness offensively was just amazing. He had 10 points in 9 minutes on 4 of 5 shooting, and his defense on Shai was pretty good. Shai was a little quiet to begin this game, and then he started picking it up as the quarter went on. Ant was quiet in this game as well. But really, it was Jaden McDaniels carrying them in this first quarter offensively, and they were scoring a lot of points. But then they started turning the ball over a lot, and that was not good news for them. And then, OKC, once they turn you over, this team averages over 20 fast break points per game. I believe over double digits points off of turnovers per game, which makes sense because they create so many. And they ended up finishing that quarter with nearly 40 first quarter points. And that's just spectacular. Second chance points, they were pretty solid in that first quarter as well with 6. And it was just really good team ball. And they hit 6 threes in that first quarter, which is that's a lot of threes. So their 3 ball was flying. J-Dub had it going in the early beginning of this first quarter, and their defense was just ramping up. And then in that second quarter, much of the same. This OKC team, you know what they do. But the Timberwolves, they were not backing off. Despite them not getting any contributions from Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards in that first half, I think they combined for 9 points, if I'm not mistaken, or 6 points and like 4 shots, or 9 points and 6 shots, something like that. It was really bad in the first half. They were able to really just stay in this game because of their depth and their role players. Rudy Gobert had a pretty solid first half, especially for Rudy Gobert standards, which is it's a little appalling. But Gilgeous-Alexander had a great game overall in that second quarter. He had 8 points, 3 or 4 shooting, hit a couple threes, and was doing his job defensively on Shai for the most part, although Shai was still able to get his, and you'll see in the final box score. DiVincenzo didn't do much in that quarter, but had a really good first quarter. And it really looked like, despite them not getting anything from Randall and Edwards and Conley and losing the turnover battle by a lot, this team was still in the game, and they were only down 5 points at halftime, I believe, or 7, something like that. It was pretty close. And then in that third quarter, we saw a lot of just beautiful shot making from both teams, and both teams were kind of entering this fourth quarter nearing or at that 100-point mark, which is remarkable. Shai, he had 8 points in that third quarter, was 4 of 10 from the field, but it kind of seemed like Minnesota was grabbing the momentum in that quarter, and their role players were playing just spectacular for them. They went 4 for 10 in the third quarter, knocking down threes. And then once you get to this fourth quarter is really where this game was just phenomenal. Both teams, they just shot the ball really well from 3. And for the Timberwolves, Gilgeous-Alexander Walker and Donte DiVincenzo, those guys were the best player on the floor for both of them. Now, Ant did get it going a little bit in the fourth, had a few nice shots, was getting inside a little bit, just being aggressive, getting downhill. But Gilgeous-Alexander Walker, I mean, if I look at it right now, his fourth quarter, it had to have been double-digit points. It wasn't, but he had 7 points and 5 assists, and they were huge, and he was making really good reads. Also wanted to point out that Terrence Shannon in the first half, he had a really good first half, and he was just bringing a lot of energy. That helped him a lot. But to get back to Gilgeous-Alexander Walker, that fourth quarter from him was something special. For a role player to do that and step up in that way is phenomenal. And then Donte DiVincenzo in the fourth quarter had 2 threes, and both of them were huge. But what ended up being the just determining factor was OKC. They had 2 stars playing like 2 stars and really playing above what their season averages are. And the Timberwolves just did not. Julius Randle, under 10 points in this game, finishes with 5 points, and that's where the struggle is for the Wolves. He was bad in this game and in game 2 as well, where I think he had 5 points in that game, or 6 points in that game. So it really was not good stuff from Julius Randle in this game, and that ended up costing them. He wasn't giving them anything with his passing. He wasn't grabbing a ton of rebounds. He only had 7. He wasn't swinging the rock really well. He only had 3 assists. And also struggling is really what cost him this game. 1 for 7 from 3 for the best 3-point shooter during the regular season. He hit a big 3 in that fourth quarter over Chet, but it was really too little too late. And to speak about the OKC stars, really there was 3 of them tonight, and really now Chet is almost starting to emerge as a star for this team. Chet had 21 points, J-Dub had 34, and then the MVP of the league, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 40 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. And before you come at me with all this foul baiting, listen, he only had like 8 free throws before they started intentionally fouling him. He wasn't getting calls, but he was still making the shots. So there was a few where I thought he got hit, where I thought he would get the whistle. He didn't. He still ended up making it, and it was kind of ridiculous. And then in that mid-range, I mean, he was just really picking this team apart. If you had Gobert on him, he's going to walk down and get to his spot. I don't know. I don't know why they kept Nikhil on him. I understand Nikhil's a pretty good defender. It's his cousin. He wants to guard. He's trying really hard, but he can't guard Shai. And I'm not saying anybody on this roster can, but McDaniels, I thought, gives them the best possible chance of winning. Now, maybe that's because, Jaden Daniels is pretty over-aggressive at times. Like, he picks up silly fouls against everybody. Of course, he's going to pick up some silly fouls against Shai. But I think Jaden Daniels gives you the best shot to guard Shai, and they changed that matchup to Nikhil, and I don't think it worked at all. Shai would just either get downhill with ease. He would walk to the mid-range a few times, did a step back and got to his shot. And also, I want to mention that Shai's passing in this game was absurd. I think he had 2 passes in the fourth quarter that were just ridiculous. He tried to do a sidestep 3, and he goes up mid-shot and then throws it around the body. I believe it was McDaniels on him, and Ant was coming to help, and that led to a wide-open 3 for Chet. And then he had another one where he pivots. He still kept his pivot foot up, but he was on the ground, and he throws it in between Ant's legs. I'm pretty sure it was Ant to Caruso, if I'm not mistaken, and he drills it. His ability to pass out of these zone helps, these double teams, people hedging over, it's impressive, and it's really what makes a superstar. A superstar is, you're going to score a lot, but then you're going to start getting more and more help. Can you beat the help? And they certainly did, man. They hit 16 of their 37 threes. It's over 40% as a team on a pretty solid amount of attempts. That's going to help you win a lot of games. And in this case, OKC is 1 game away from the NBA Finals. Just that passing from Shai was the most impressive part of this game for me. He put up a lot of shots, but he shot 43%. And, having 40 points in the biggest game of your life to this point, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. He looked like an MVP plus tonight. He looked like a top 3 player in the world, which I really do believe that he is. Jalen Williams, 34 points and 5 assists on 54% shooting. To go along with 3 steals, J-Dub has been amazing at times in these playoffs, and he's really looked like the perfect second option next to Shai. In this game, it was just some great shot making at the beginning, doing just enough in these middle quarters. In that fourth quarter, he had a few really big shots down the stretch of this game, a few mid-range jumpers that really helped this team keep the lead and really have a safe lead and just be able to win the game. He just makes so many winning plays. And then Chet Holmgren, man, what a play from him on Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels driving right, spins back left. He thinks he's got an easy layup with the left hand, and Chet sends it off the backboard. And that was probably the biggest play of the game, because Jaden McDaniels got a really clean look at the rim, but Chet was able to send it, and that really helped this team secure the dub. That was incredible. His 3-point shooting tonight was pretty good as well. 2 for 4. and it seemed like he was just hitting the threes at the biggest time when they needed him. I remember he put up a three, he missed it. Casey Wallace got the offensive rebound, and instead of just standing at the three-point line, like some big men who can shoot do, they just stand at the three-point line. He cuts, gets an easy dunk. He had a play where he spun off Nas Reed, threw it down. Like, he had some really impressive plays. Man, I'm not saying Shai's going to average 40 and then J-Dub's going to average 34 and Chet's going to average 21, but if you can get 30 from Shai, 25 from J-Dub, and 18 from Chet every game, I really don't see how this team wins. The role players were pretty solid tonight. Ihart, he barely played. I think he was a little injured. I seen him lingering a little bit, but that's besides the point. Maybe he just didn't have a good game. Lou Dort didn't have a great game shooting-wise, but he was on it like glue. Kenrich didn't do much. Isaiah Joe didn't do much. Caruso, he had a really good game. You know, his impact is always going to be felt in terms of his defense, his hustle, the amount of pressure he puts on the opponents. It's never going to be felt in his stats. He did end up having 10 points and 2 for 5 from 3, which is good enough. Like, that's really all you need to do. That's 40% from 3. That makes you a pretty good three-point shooter. So shout out to Caruso. But man, that was a fantastic game. We finally get a good game in these Western Conference Finals, and OKC is just still good enough. I think that Denver series, I think at times in playoff runs, there's like the finals, yes, that's where you become the champion, right? Like, you're officially crowned the champion. I think there is some series like this Denver series for OKC that makes you a champion. I think once they got past that, man, that made them a champion. I'm trying to think of other series that had made teams champions. Boston, I don't know. It was 2023. The Nuggets. Probably the Lakers series is what made them champions. Like, just at battling through adversity in that series. 2022 Golden State. I mean, probably the finals, but I think there is times in playoff runs that aren't the finals that crown you as champion. And I think that OKC team, they got just so much experience in one round of basketball. It has helped them blow out teams, win in blowouts, win in close games, win when they have to come from behind, bounce back after a blowout, just stuff like that. It's helped them so much. And I think they're still going to make the NBA Finals, whether it's in 5 or 6 games. I don't see it going 7. Just too much inconsistency from Minnesota. You wasted big games from Nikhil and Dante DiVincenzo, and you can't have that happen. Ant-Man needs to be better, but also the roster construction needs to be a little bit better around him too. So, yeah, that'll be the game recap. Phenomenal one. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you think Shai ranks in the league. Like, he is starting to climb a dangerous ladder and really start to teeter with Jokic and Giannis right now. But, yeah, it's a fun game. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.